Welcome to the Tower Talk podcast, a place for honest and open conversations to support you in living your best life from the inside out. Join me on this journey of self-discovery as we explore what it means to reach next level badassery and cut through the BS. So tune in, stay a while, and I promise I'll be right here alongside you as we figure this shit out together. If you follow me on Instagram or basically any social media platform, you know that I am not afraid to call out the bullshit when I see it. We live in a world full of information overload, and I want to make sure that you know what's real, what's fake, what's worth doing, and what's a waste of time. After all, I do have a lot of experience and knowledge in this field in health and fitness, so I take personal responsibility for making sure you all, my community, know what is bullshit and what is the truth. So today, I am debunking myths and shedding light on the truths of common health and fitness info I've seen floating around for years so that you can make educated decisions for yourself. Now, before I dive into these, I want to remind you that everybody is different. Everybody and everybody. So even as I've debunked these myths and share what I know to be true and valid, if you find yourself disagreeing or having a different experience than what I share, that is a-okay. You don't have to agree with me or like everything I say, and honestly, it'd be a little weird if you did. I am simply sharing what I know to be true, what I know what works, and how I perceive it as a coach with over 11 years of experience. And at the end of the day, it's most important to listen to your individual, unique body cues. As I said, I've been in the industry over 11 years. I'm a certified personal trainer. I have certifications in kettlebells, mobility, Olympic weightlifting, yoga, menopause, and corrective exercise. And I have a lot of background knowledge and experience, but I will say I don't know it all. There is a lot to dive into today, so let's get started. Myth number 1, lifting weights will make you bulky. This is a big one, and I'm really glad that we're starting with this one because bulky, the actual term bulky, is subjective. And the real definition of the word literally means taking up much space, typically inconveniently. So like a bulky suitcase going into the overhead bin. But what's actually inconvenient about a woman taking up more space in this world? Nothing, in my opinion. Some people may look at me and they say I'm bulky, but some people may look at top-rated bodybuilders and see that they are bulky. So in reality, it totally depends on the person and depends on what your eye sees. And maybe, just maybe, we finally stopped talking about bulky as being something that we don't want as a woman, and more of what we actually do want. As we all know and hear everywhere, and thankfully we're hearing it more and more every day, muscle is the key to longevity and has a long list of benefits, including, but not limited to, more endurance and flexibility, improves your bone density, reduces the risk of chronic diseases, improves your athletic performance. It benefits your mental health. It improves your flexibility and mobility. It reduces stress. It can increase confidence. You have higher energy level. You have higher sex appeal, and your badassery level increases by at least 75%. And as we get a little older as a woman, after the age of 40, we can lose up to 5 to 10% year over year of muscle mass. So why wouldn't we want to build, not break it as a result of not lifting weights? I digress. Now, the act of getting bulky, or let's just call a spade, bulky is really just building muscle. It takes so much time, effort, food, genetics, and reps. The people you see as quote unquote bulky did not get there overnight. They didn't get there in a week, a month, or even a couple years. The people you see as quote unquote bulky didn't get that way overnight. They didn't get that way in a week or a month or even a year. Some people take years to get muscle that they desire. And also the effort that you put into the gym is not just going in and doing the movements. There's a lot that goes into it. There's tempo, really pushing and challenging your weights, challenging yourself, focusing on mind-muscle connection, and being consistent as fuck. Not to mention the food you have to eat to gain muscle is a lot more than you're probably used to as well. Your protein consumption must go up, and you're just going to be hungrier in general, which is a good thing because muscle does burn more calories at rest. So if you like to eat like myself, it's just another incredible benefit of strength training, in my opinion. Genetics does play a huge role in muscle growth, My parents have some strong legs without doing much, so I did start with that and have built them into the monsters they are today with strength training. I truly hope that as a society, we have pushed past this notion a bit, but it is okay for a woman to take up more space. It doesn't make you any less feminine or less of a woman. If anything, it gives you the most confidence to truly be your biggest and best version of yourself. It's a big one. I'm glad we started there because I feel like I can already take a breath going into the next one. Myth number 2, workouts don't count unless you're sweaty and exhausted afterwards. This is one I believed for a long time in my early to mid 20s. I really truly believed that I had to be so exhausted the rest of the day and just be so sweaty after workout for it to quote unquote count or be a quote unquote good workout. And here's the thing, every leg day now, I sweat a lot. Every upper body, I feel like I can go about my day like nothing really happened other than, obviously a solid arm pump. But does that mean I'm working harder on my leg day than on my upper body day? Well, have you seen my shoulders and back? No, but seriously, I'm working just as hard. First, please note, especially with sweat, every body is different. I know people who sweat all the time, and I, on the other hand, don't sweat as much. And so the amount that you sweat is very individual. It's not necessarily a reflection of how hard you're actually working out. And some people will think, oh, I sweat so much at the gym earlier, I must have burnt a lot of calories, but it's more indication of having just been really warm. The more proficient you become at a certain activity, you may find it that you're actually sweating even less, even though you may be able to push yourself harder. And as you become stronger, your body becomes more efficient. And the more efficient it is, the less you may sweat overall. And of course, there are benefits to sweating, but that doesn't necessarily have to happen within your workouts. And it is not an indicator of a good workout. Promise you that. Myth number 3, soreness means your workouts are good. So this is a huge topic, and I feel like I still have to talk about it all the time. So let me first start off by saying that I am going to go deep in depth into DOMS, which I'll talk about right now. DOMS are delayed onset muscle soreness in a future episode. But let me just kind of explain exactly what happens when you get these DOMS. There are so many ways you can actually get DOMS, and it's typically when you start a new workout program, when you're doing a different variation, when you're lifting a heavier weight, when you are challenging your body in a way that you haven't in a long time or never have in the past, a new exercise, a new rep or set scheme. It can happen in a plethora of different ways. And some of the symptoms that may occur when you get this soreness are muscles that feel tender to the touch, maybe reduced range of motion due to pain and stiffness while moving, swelling in those affected areas, like you might see some, big quad pump or something after you do some heavy squats, muscle fatigue, and then short-term loss of muscle strength. But as you keep working out and as you keep doing that same plan, your body will adapt. You may feel less and less sore with each workout, but that does not mean that you're not working hard enough or you're missing out on any fitness gains from those workouts. And there has been so many studies, especially recently, on this, that the indicator of a good workout or that you're building more muscle is not soreness in the muscles. And as easy as it would be to use DOMS as a way to measure your workout's productiveness, it's unreliable and honestly really inaccurate. Because sometimes you might just get this muscle soreness because you didn't sleep well, you're not hydrated. Like there's so many other components that come into play when soreness occurs. Honestly, I have been sore a handful of times over the course of the past year. And so it's really frustrating to see someone post this quote unquote leg day that will not have you working the next day, as it's like a good thing or something we sought after. If you're looking at those videos on Instagram or TikTok and you're like, oh, this is going to have your glutes on fire for a week, that is not necessarily a good workout. There is nothing good about being sore. Okay, so please. And then what helps with DOMS? Foam rolling, gentle movement, sleep, water, and creatine. But the more that you actually do said workout, the more you actually work out, the less sore you will be, because then you'll be just consistent. It's going to be a part of your life. Let's put that one to rest. Myth number 4, you need a meal plan to see results. First of all, blanket meal statements handed out so freely these days, along with the myriad of best foods advice, it's altogether impossible to know what is best for you. So it is my firm belief that trainers should not be giving out blanket meal plans ever. We all have different bodies, metabolisms, hormone configurations. Not only that, but as a certified personal trainer, you should not be prescribing meal plans. There are so many great registered dietitians out there to help you reach those goals if you want. But honestly, I really truly believe that you don't have to follow a specific plan to see the goals that you want to achieve. You shouldn't be hitting this exact breakfast, this exact snack, exact lunch every single day because first of all, that is not sustainable at all. Hitting your protein goal, increasing your fiber intake, eating whole foods will really get you there. But again, I am not a dietitian and there's some really amazing ones out there. I actually have a guest coming on really soon that will talk way more into this topic soon. But if you do want to become a little bit more intentional about your food habits, then I do recommend learning what it means for you to eat intuitively. And I recorded an entire episode on this, episode 7. I also included a free PDF mindfulness tracker that you can download from the show notes to support you on this mindfulness journey. And finally, with this, I also want to note that counting calories is not the epicenter of health and wellness. It's really rather misconstrued data point that is easy to focus on and unnecessary to so many people. I know it's really great for a lot of people out there, but for me and my clients, we just do not focus on that specific thing. And there's so many personal trainers out there that are giving this blanket advice when they actually are not certified to do that. Myth number 5, you can target fat loss. This is also known as spot reduction, and honestly, it's just bad science. Your body burns fat based on overall fitness. It has nothing to do with targeting a specific area of the body to see results. You cannot pinpoint a spot on your body and target fat loss there. And this also goes similarly with building muscle. In the first point, it takes time, patient reps, and genetics play a huge role in fat loss in general. And really, you see the results because of consistency, like period, end of statement. But the body doesn't only draw energy from the cells around the area you're working, it also gets energy from the body as a whole. So while targeting specific body areas during exercise can be effective to build muscle and shape those areas, it will not necessarily help you to lose fat in that specific area. Research has suggested that the opinion about spot reduction, which is commonly used for regional fat loss, is actually impossible. This has been an opinion for 50 plus years in exercise science community, but manufacturers of exercise equipment still promote this belief, aka buy our ab blaster to sculpt a six-pack today. Don't buy it, plain and simple. It's bullshit. They're lying to you and they're trying to take your money, period. Myth number 6. You should work out fasted. I actually haven't seen this a ton more recently, but I want to highlight the word quote unquote should. You absolutely can work out fasted if you want to. I'm sure there's some great science behind it, either one way or the other, but there is no should. If that's your thing and it works for you, awesome, but you're not going to experience more gains, especially fat loss gains, because you are fasted. I personally could not do a workout without food. Like you could not get me into a workout if I haven't eaten before the workout itself. But if you're the type of person that doesn't like to eat before, or you're working out too early in the morning, you can just eat right after that. That is okay too. I hear this so often from trainers as some sort of like quick fix. And my argument is that fasted workouts can actually be less effective due to the fact that you don't have energy in your body to reach your full potential. So take that how you will. Myth number 7, do these daily ab exercises and you will get abs. Well, we already covered that spot reduction is a major myth. And second, abs aren't everything, contrary to whatever person decided that they were, marketed them, and got everyone to buy into the hype. And I actually blame like Abercrombie and Fitch and American Eagle and Hollister, and then just social media as a whole. What you see on social media as it pertains to abs is most likely the cause of dehydration, lack of food, sleep, and honestly, probably Photoshop. But again, genetics play a huge role in this as well, and I feel like it's not talked about enough online. And third, abs are not made by ab exercises. The core is used for everything that we do. Every exercise you perform utilizes your core strength and increases your core strength and stability. To be honest, I rarely do any ab exercises because I do so much strength training. Doing a set of abs at the end of your gym routine will not just mysteriously expose these muscles. So if you are intentional about your strength exercises, like for example, a goblet squat, it's one of my favorite core exercises. You can get so much more out of it. My favorite other core exercises are totally unconventional. They're usually carries, like a farmer's carry, an overhead carry, an offset carry, a racked carry, any sort of rotational movements besides Russian twists. So a Pallof press with a twist or an axe chop, something like that. And honestly, every heavy lift. I have to really engage my core on every heavy lift I do. And then back to the genetics part of abs, they play the most important role here. And some people's ab muscles just expose themselves more than others. I know actually a lot of people that have a pretty weak core because they don't strength train, and yet they have like these chiseled abs. And you're like, how did this happen? But the definition of those muscles is purely aesthetic. It says nothing about your actual core health, and nothing about having abs makes them a better or worse person than anyone else. And finally, myth 8, walking is an exercise. This is such a great one. I feel like 2020 was the year of walking because that was when COVID happened. And now I really do see hot girl walks and people just going on walks for their mental health. It is one of the best exercises out there. It helps build stamina and makes your heart healthier. You can do it anywhere with anyone. And science has proven over and over again that it is the key to heart health. And any movement is good movement without some sort of disclaimer on what's happening in that movement. So walking is a prime example of movement that nearly anyone can do. It's really great for your mental health, physical and emotional health. And I cannot even explain how much I recommend this to literally every client, every person that I can. And I'm also going to record an in-depth episode on this in January about how walking is so beneficial and just the behind the scenes science of total daily energy expenditure, NEAT, and how you can actually get more movement in throughout your day without actually always focusing on getting in that workout. Okay, so those were the 8 myths that I wanted to go over. There are so many more of them. So please let me know if you want a part 2 to this. I hope that you learned so much from it. And here are just a few things to consider. Now, what health and fitness things are you doing because you think that you quote unquote should be doing them? What actually makes you feel healthy and good in your body? What are some areas of health and fitness do you feel like confused or overwhelmed with? Oftentimes people follow these diet and culture fitness shoulds because they A, don't understand and are just trying to trust that this is the truth, and B, are overwhelmed and just want someone to tell them what to do. And I see this all the time when people come to work with me. They've just been doing all the things. They've tried all the diets and workouts and Instagram advice until finally they realize it's not working, and then they like some support. And that's where I come into the picture. Or another awesome coach or program. Someone to provide trustworthy advice and guidance to support your goals and hold you accountable throughout the way. It is my favorite part about being a coach. I want to be there by your side the whole time. So if you're looking for a movement program or a coach to support you in not only movement, but mindset too, I have you covered. Apply to work with me one-on-one and receive even more support on your movement, mindset, and food journey. I would love to see you over there. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for coming to this Tara Talk. I hope you're taking something away from this episode, and if so, I would love to hear about it. You can connect with me at The Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara on Instagram. A few ways you can help support the show and help spread the word. You can share it on Instagram, tag at The Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara. Send an episode to a friend, and please leave a review if the show is resonating with you. It takes just a few minutes, and it means so much to help this show grow, and it helps me to continue to bring on badass guests for all of us to learn and grow from. I am so happy you're here and excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time, be a badass with a good ass.